And just to let you know, we are now going live.
And we have the pictures?
Yeah? Okay. Hello, everybody. Hello, and a warm welcome to the Resilience Hub. To those of you in the room and those of you online, welcome. My name's Natalie Highwood. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm a white woman with short brown hair and glasses, which I've got just here, wearing a dark blue tunic top and black trousers. I work for Julie's Bicycle, a UK-based NGO mobilising culture and the arts to take action on the climate, nature and justice crisis. Julie's Bicycle is delighted to be here in the Resilience Hub, co-chairing with international NGO HIVOS, the wonderful HIVOS, the arts, antiquities, culture and heritage strand of the Resilience Hub programming. At COP28, Julie's Bicycle is also working as part of the Climate Heritage Network, which has led a global call for culture-based climate action and advocated for the involvement of culture in the COP process. And I am delighted to say that later in this event, I'll be able to give an update on what's happened yesterday in relation to that. Culture is a powerful force that shapes all of our lives, wherever we are in the world. Culture-led solutions that are inclusive, local as well as global, and focused on people and nature are already abundant. The arts speak to hearts and minds, inspiring action and helping us to understand climate change through storytelling and shared experiences. Cultural heritage, including traditional knowledge, strengthens resilience, helps communities to adapt to climate impacts, protects places, and offers green, circular, and regenerative solutions. And the creative industries, design, music, fashion, film, shape our lifestyle, our tastes, and our consumption patterns. To strengthen global climate action, we need to urgently harness the extraordinary potential of these sectors to help people imagine and realise a low-carbon, just, climate-resilient future. I'm delighted to introduce today's event, How Creativity Can Build Resilient Communities. This event focuses on how artistic and cultural practice can shape how communities build resilience in the face of climate impacts. The ways in which people experience and respond to climate change and climate change's consequences are influenced deeply by culture and heritage and historical patterns, including colonialism. Cultural interactions can strengthen the adaptive capacity of people and ecosystems, and overlooking this can increase vulnerability, reduce adaptive capacity, and indeed lead to potential maladaptation. Today, we have the immense pleasure of hearing from a number of projects where creativity is already helping build resilient communities. So I'm now delighted to hand over to Tiago and Shirley, who will introduce themselves and give us a proper, warm, artistic welcome. Thanks, Tiago.
Thank you, Natalie. Thank you. Hello, everyone. So my name is Tiago Jesus. I'm a very proud member of the Julie's Bicycle team, and I'm very honored to be here with you today. And I'm also the head of climate action at People's Policy Projects. We are an arts research center at Queen Mary University of London, and we are very happy to have two of our main indigenous artists who are associates with us today. And I would like to introduce Shirley. Shirley Jucurnan Krenak is a member of the Brazilian Krenak community in Minas Gerais, Brazil, and a leading activist for indigenous voices within the climate movement. Shirley has made it her life work to fight for the rights of indigenous people and preserve the heritage of her people, the Krenak people, once declared extinct, but who are also very much alive and strong. In 2015, the Krenak people were deeply affected by Brazil's worst environmental crime, when the dam from Vale in Samarco collapsed, unleashing tons of mining waste in the sacred Doce River, affecting the ecosystem of hundreds of kilometers. So I'd like to invite Shirley to be with us here today and give the welcome to start the session. Shirley.
Que a força da terra possa nos proteger 24 horas por dia.
Hello? That the strength of the earth can protect us, may protect us 24 hours a day.
E que o meu bioma da Mata Atlântica
And
possa
that my
continuar
biome,
firme e forte diante de tantas ações criminosas da empresa Vale.
and that my biome, the Mata Atlântica, the Atlantic forest, may remain strong against all of the cruel acts of the mining companies Vale.
E antes de começar uma conversa bem digna e bem verdadeira, eu convido vocês a ficarem de pé.
And before we start a very good conversation, I want to invite you all to stand up.
E eu
Please.
convido as minhas parentes para vir aqui pertinho de mim também.
And I would like to invite my friends to be here on stage with me as well.
Silvia. Diante de vocês estão mulheres indígenas e guerreiras da ancestralidade.
We have here indigenous women who are sacred from the ancestrality of Brazil.
Mulheres que estão ocupando os espaços de um tema tão complicado, né, que é a COP.
Women that are here occupying a space of a very challenging space, which is COP.
E estamos aqui com a nossa articulação para mostrar para o mundo todo que não existe negociação sem antes consulta prévia com nossos povos.
And we are here to show the entire world that there is no negotiation without a previous consultations with our people.
E nós não concordamos com a forma que o governo ou os governos de muitos países estão tratando os povos indígenas em todas as COPs que já aconteceram.
And we do not agree with the way that the ministers and the governments of all the countries are treating the indigenous people in every single COP so far.
Crédito de carbono não é bom.
Carbon credit is not good.
Mineração não é bom.
Mining is not good.
Lítio não é bom.
Lithium is not good.
Petróleo não é bom.
Oil is not good.
O melhor
The
e a
best,
melhor ação é plantar árvores
The
e
best-
restaurar territórios.
the best action is to plant trees and restore territories.
Mas infelizmente, a cultura da população anda totalmente desviada.
But unfortunately, the culture of the entire population is diverted.
E o poder está acima de tudo e de todos.
And power is above everything and everyone.
E aí ocorre destruições que estão trazendo problemas imensos para nós, comunidades tradicionais e biomas do Brasil.
And that's how destruction happens and bring the massive issues and challenges and problems that are bringing to all of us in Brazil, all the indigenous peoples in Brazil.
Então, em nome da grande Mãe Terra,
So on behalf of Mother Earth,
eu peço, parem de nos matar.
I ask, stop killing us.
Parem de destruir os nossos rios sagrados.
Stop destroying our sacred rivers.
Parem de estuprar o mar.
Stop raping the sea.
Parem de estuprar corpos de mulheres indígenas em nossos territórios por causa do garimpo.
Stop violating our own bodies in our territories because of mining.
Os nossos corpos são artes ancestrais.
Our bodies are art, ancestral art.
E é através das nossas artes ancestrais
And it's through our ancestral arts
que nós mostramos para o mundo todo
that we show all the world
a potência histórica e ancestral que nós trabalhamos 24 horas por dia.
the history and the potence of the work that we do 24 hours a day.
Soltem os braços, por favor,
Release your hands, your arms, please.
porque o nosso rezo também é arte.
Because our prayer is
Nosso
also art.
corpo, nosso canto é arte.
Our songs, our body is art.
E o nosso corpo território é um ativismo muito grande.
And our body, which is territory, is a really strong piece of activism.
Hey, yeah, hey, yeah, hey, yeah. Hey, yeah, hey, yeah, hey, yeah. Ticonya jikura ina inata kruk tek tek tupi ina ning paren makiam ning paren makiam nem para el maquiar. Ti conya jikura ina ta kruk tek tek tupi ina nem para el maquiam nem para el maquiam nem para el maquiar. Yeah, yeah. Nós somos da Articulação Nacional das Mulheres Indígenas Guerreiras da Ancestralidade, AMIGA.
So we are from Amiga, the articulation of the ancestral women from the warriors of ancestrality
E
from
a
Brazil.
nossa missão e os nossos princípios são de proteção total ao corpo das mulheres indígenas no nosso país.
And our principle and our values are of total full protection of the bodies of our women, of our indigenous women in Brazil.
E os nossos corpos territórios não estão à venda.
And our territories, our bodies are not for sale.
Os nossos biomas não estão à venda.
Our biomes are not for sale.
Respeite,
Respect.
respeite,
Respect.
respeite os
Respect.
nossos corpos territórios.
Our bodies, territories.
Obrigado.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Shirley. Shall I keep? Shirley's saying that she will have to go because she has another event going on. And I will now invite, so we're going to start the session with a panel now. And I would like, so we're inviting 4 cultural voices to share a little bit of their incredible work with here today. So I would like to invite Marvi Mazar and Mahim Zia from Pakistan, who are joining us online. Are they ready there? Yes. Anjali Sai Shaliz from Nepal, and Khalid Shamboil from Sudan, who will be joining me on stage. Please take a seat. Thank you. So I think there's a microphone. And we have one chair which is empty. There's this beautiful bird that represents all of the voices of that couldn't be here today with us, the voices of the more than human, the other species. And this beautiful bird was crafted by one of our cultural leaders from Australia, Guy Ritani. So we are taking this bird everywhere with us, and it's going to travel in every single COP from now on until we reach Brazil to represent all of the voices that can't be here with us today. So I would like to start. Are you listening to me well online? Is everything okay?
Yeah.
Good.
Absolutely.
Good. So first of all, I would like to invite you all to briefly introduce yourselves for a minute or two. Is that okay? Would you like to start? Is it on?
Hello. Yeah. So hi everyone. Namaste. My name is Anjali Sai Chalisi. I am from Nepal and I'm representing Nepalese Youth for Climate Action. That is the largest youth-led network fighting against climate crisis back in Nepal. And we work majorly on advocacy, campaigning, spreading awareness, and capacity building of young people. We started doing a campaign connecting culture so that we also start emphasizing how culture is being depleted due to climate change. And while doing those campaigns, we realized that the community's people were being very much distracted from the fact that climate change is an issue, because they felt like with the international conferences as such, climate change has only been discussed, and now it's not the role of community people or like how cultural heritages are being depleted. So what we did was we tried connecting them. So we tried being the bridge between the technical jargons and the community people, and we brought the issue of non-economic loss and damage up front as well. Similarly, our network is spread to almost all part of Nepal, and every young people out there are working closely with the indigenous people. They are doing documentary about how the communities of indigenous people are being affected by climate change and how what kind of adaptation practices they are doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Shall we go online? Shall I ask Marvi to do a quick introduction, just to introduce yourself for a minute, and then we go into the questions? Is that okay? Marvi, can we hear you?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Good. Thank you.
Hello. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear us?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Marvi Mazhar. I am an architect and researcher based in Karachi, Pakistan. My present ongoing research focuses on land use and development. My work also attempts to understand the legalities of public heritage properties, amenity plots, class urban-based spaces of Karachi, extending affecting communities from, and also looking at the social analytical perspectives. All the work directly affects the environmental justice, and I hope to have a continued conversation with you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Marvi. Shall I ask now Mahim to introduce herself?
So, hello, my name is Mahim Zia, and I am representing our project Permaculture Gardens of Resilience in Pakistan, where we're teaching permaculture to women from two rural communities in Sindh. And my partners in this are Kat Sheldrick, who is a permaculture practitioner in the UK, and Sumbul Khan, who's an arts for social change practitioner in Karachi. And some of you might know permaculture is derived from two words, permanence and culture, and you can't have any kind of permanence without food security. So the idea, the aim of our project is to teach and support our participants to build their own kitchen gardens of resilience based on permaculture. And the intersection with culture, besides permaculture, is that our participants are unlettered in the conventional sense, but they have a very rich lived cultural heritage. And so we are encouraging them to use that, such as embroidery and song, to imbibe the learning and also to appropriate it and make it their own. And I look forward to sharing some more about the project as we continue our conversation.
Thank you very much. And now I will pass to Khalid, please.
Hello. Okay, I'm Khalid Shambul Musab. I'm from Sudan. Here representing our project, Safeguarding Sudan Living Heritage. And it's a project that I joined as a climate change scientist. So the student of the project, I'm learning from the heritage people about the co-living. I'm working for a long time on adaptation and mitigation projects. And always we have this failure, the well-known failure of the adaptation and loss and damage and mitigation projects when we are trying to put all them together in one basket. So for the last 3 years, I'm learning from the local communities, their indigenous knowledge, and the co-living techniques by heritage.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So I have prepared some questions here, and I'm going to go first with Mahim and Anjali here, because in both of your projects involve working with communities to share knowledge through existing cultural practices, such as films, songs, as you said, embroidery, faith-based rituals. And so I will ask you to talk a little bit more about why do you work, why do you do this work, why is this important, and how this helps to empower communities, the communities that you work with. So shall I start with Anjali here? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So the reason why we work in the community, especially with the youth, is we believe that young people are the central of the point. They can influence everyone, and whenever we go to communities, one thing that we realized was while doing our climate culture campaign as well, that when we went and approached to the community before, they were like not really listening to us because we were outsider. But when we reached to the young people of that community, we talked with them and they reached to their parents and their family. Those communities were accepting the facts that we are talking. So that is the reason why we work with young people, and we feel like we believe in the bottom-up approach. We believe that actions need to be done from the bottom level where communities people are actually there, and we believe in ground actions because from there we get to amplify the voices, and we get to make people realize that how important it is for us to do campaigns and also to make the governments and people realize that this is an issue and a concern they need to be talking about. And also whenever we are walking we all work in a different modality, because like in different places, the campaigns are different, the issue the people are facing are different, the young people working there are different. So in some places, we work with young people in global moments, March. Some places, the young people are working with the local communities where they are giving trainings to the women so that they can carry on the adaptation practices related to agriculture. In some places, the cultural heritages are being depleted. So at that aspect, the young people are working on telling to the community people how and why those heritage sites are being depleted. For example, like at one event, which is a very auspicious festival of our country, the water level was depleting, but the community people had no idea that it was due to climate change, which is a reality. So when we went there, the community people's perceptions was that, oh, it's a God-driven phenomena, which is totally wrong. So the local community, the young people of that community started telling them that how this is due to climate change, and the community together with us helped us amplify the voice and pressurize the government in order to make plans and policies to protect those heritage sites. So that is the reason why we work with the young people, because we believe that young people are influencers. They have the capability to influence a lot of people, to bring together the voices, and they have a lot of innovative ideas that can help tackle this issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing this, and it's definitely so important, and it's the world afterwards, isn't it? It's about building that. I will pass to Mahim now. Mahim, do you remember the question? Shall I repeat?
No, I remember the question.
Yes.
And
Perfect.
our work we feel is important because Pakistan is considered one of the 10 most climate vulnerable countries in the world. And I'm sure monsoons have been in the news. People would remember them. It's not so long ago. And with the rising cost of living, rural communities, urban communities as well, but rural especially, are really hard hit by these changes. And in rural communities, women bear a double burden because they provide the food for the family and they do a lot of the work, but they don't have decision-making powers. And so we wanted to specifically work with them. And what's interesting in our project is that we're working with farming communities, and our participants are tenant farmers as well as small land-owning farming women. And surprisingly, the people who are providing or growing the food for people in the cities, they themselves are very impoverished in their diets. So the idea was to not just to equip them with the knowledge to grow their kitchen gardens so that they could supplement their own diets, but also to enable them to be the repositories of this knowledge and the sharers of this knowledge, and to make their knowledge theirs using their own cultural practices. It'd be very nice if there was embroidery. There's an example of needlework that Sumbul has been working with the participants with. If we could have that picture up, then people would get an idea of how this learning translates into cultural practice and future learning. So this is one of our participants, Jumni, and she's holding up her embroidery, showing both the value of diversity and codependence and harmony, and how that all strengthens and builds resilience. And so this is her own embroidery. So this is an opportunity for her to not just to learn what we've been talking about, but also to be able to talk about it to other people in other communities, maybe her family members or other people that she comes across in her farming. And in addition to that, this is there's a lot of women feel disadvantaged anyways, and then they also feel disadvantaged in being uneducated. But to be literate is just one form of knowledge, and to be able to translate learning into pictures is also a way to give back ownership of knowledge in other forms, which has existed traditionally, historically. But in a sense, I think this current age has kind of created more of an emphasis on the written word and taken away some of the power of oral cultures. And so this is a way to kind of engage that again and try to give back value to that.
Thank you very much, Maheen. Beautiful, beautiful work. And I will now invite Marvi to talk about, because last year we all remember that between June and August, Pakistan suffered floods that affected at least 33 million people as a result of climate change. So Marvi, how does your work as an architect and as a researcher help to build resilience to future flooding?
Thank you for the question. Sorry, Maheen, were you saying something?
So, did you hear my question?
Yeah, I did.
Shall I repeat?
Thank you so much for the question. I really appreciate it. So my practice stems from a very contested atmosphere, which leads me to spatial advocacy and interventions. I've been for some time, I've been my practice, I've constantly advocated and challenged existing built environment and aspiration of a new skyline in a city which is constantly in decay. So to set the lens and to come to the query of what you just asked me, it is important to look at the architectural and the urban development practices generally in South Asia. And you cannot make any query unless and until you don't understand what it is to make the city on everyday basis. So, Pakistan, with the world's fifth largest population, struggling with spiking inflation, mounting international debt, and an unstable political situation, the damage caused by the climate crisis are much larger challenge for Pakistan. And the floods of August 2022 were of a monumental scale. It was not just devastation and human suffering, which right now is difficult to understand and digest, but also to understand that what it means to be displaced. And that displacement itself is a very important phenomena in the making of the urban-rural estuary. So Pakistan has a very diverse landscape which requires different planning in different regions. It is extremely important to understand the politics of water and land through the voice of the community. And I feel it is very now critical that their voice needs to be part of the planning schemes. It is now critical to draw cross-sectorial linkages and impacts of climate change by centering on solidarities and alliances, by accommodating marginalized communities into planning processes. And in doing so, it is very important to understand the materiality. Instead of giving them IKEA-based packages and industrial packages to make and say, this is the first aid mechanism of building a quick way on basis of first aid architecture. It is important to make them, accommodate them, to learn from them, what is it to live in local material. And that is something we need to emphasize as architects and as spatial advocates. I will also conclude on the query that does really Pakistan need to apply global development methodologies or spatial democratic justice between the two. In climate catastrophic atmosphere, it is now fundamental function to understand the sacredness through lens of care management. And this, in my view, has become more urgent than ever.
Thank you very much, Marvi. I will pass now to Khalid. Khalid, can you tell us a little bit more about some of the threats to cultural heritage in Sudan and why and how your campaign is supporting communities to document their own heritage?
As you see now, Sudan is witnessing a bloody war. And this war is affecting not only the community of Sudan, the people and their lives, but it also affects their heritage and their beliefs. Because Sudan is a country of so many different ethnicities, social groups, religious group, and different communities. So the main idea about Sudan is to see how the diversity can form a heritage of co-living. So this is the main message from the country and all the Sahel is the co-living. Because the Sahel is, and Sudan as a country from the Sahel of Africa, is agro-pastoral community. So you have communities with a culture of animal keeping and pastoral life. And you have a farmer community with settlement life and different livelihood system. But both communities, both group of communities have the same culture. So the main idea behind that, we need to look again to the climate change strategy that we need to adopt in an area like that. For a long time, I'm working as an official or for an agency for adaptation and resilience in these communities. And always we have this problem that we are not well contacted to the communities because the main thing, we think that they are not understanding the message behind what we are doing. They are not understanding the difference between 1.5 and 2 degrees. For the last 3 years, I started discovering that we don't understand the livelihoods this means the life. The culture and the heritage for the communities mean everything. So an interruption for the livelihood, for the culture, you need first to speak their language, their own languages. So the UN jargon, the climate change jargon have nothing to do with these communities. You have to learn their own language because you need to work with them. When we are thinking about development projects or adaptation projects and what's the difference between that, these communities are not going to find out the difference at all because they think they are marginalized, and they are. So if you are thinking about an adaptation project, loss and damage project, whatsoever climate jargon project, but not an adaptation project, so you're thinking about something out of the jargon, out of the language. What we are doing and what we are learning from that community is that we need to adopt their livelihood system and their culture, their heritage, and to find out language that can bring us all together to one page so we can communicate about such issues. They have the real problem of climate change because they are facing climate change for centuries. It's not just now in Sahel of Africa. The Sahel of Africa have changed a lot during the last 100 years, not like the other parts of the world. You can imagine in the southern part of my country, Sudan, we have a very large rainforest, and now we are living in the Sahara. So this rapid change in the climate is not just a thing that we can deal with a scientific context or a cultural expert or a heritage scenario or a documentary for a movie maker. It's something real. We are facing now a real war because of the climate change, because of that we don't know the heritage and the culture of these African groups. They have their way of life, so they have not adopted our way of life. We have this question through the colonization period when people think that we have to start settling the nomad people. So we can offer them education, we can offer them hospitals, etc. But never we think about how we can do with the mobility of those communities, how we can offer them everything while they are removed, because this livelihood is nothing for them but their heritage. So we start learning this heritage and sharing this with others. We have a lot of people that find out, yeah, it's really, really easy to deal with a community in their own language. You learn from them, so you have the respect. It's all about the respect of this culture. Now we are starting a campaign because the war in Sudan erupted our project. So now we are starting online campaign and a visual museum for the Sudanese heritage, dealing with the concept of climate change and conflict and heritage.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for sharing this incredible work and these incredible insights with us. And as Natalie said in the beginning, this COP has been a very important COP for culture. And I just wanted to ask for the four of you, if you can, in 1 minute, let us know what for you is needed right now from politicians, from funders, other institutions to support the incredible work that you are doing on the ground. So shall I start with Anjali here?
Thank you for the question. So I think everyone would agree when I say that politicians, from the aspect of them, we do not want a tokenized participation of young people, but meaningful and inclusive participation of us. And also, like whenever we are doing campaigns, it is important that now they start talking about cultural heritages, how they are being impacted due to climate change, and it needs to be not only in the agenda of one political party, but everyone needs to start speaking about it because it is a concern of an individual, of a country, of the whole world. And also in case of like the funding and supporters, we as a network would like to work individually, like we want our plans and the youth-led initiatives, and we do not want anyone to mold those stuff. So for funding, but in a supportive way, that they don't they don't put their agenda on our work, like it is young people-led actions and campaigns. And also in case of institutions, as we are still young people, there are still things that we need to learn, technical support, and also capacity building. So that's where they can play a very great role. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Shall I go to keep the order, Maheen? Yes?
Oh, well, two statements come to mind. One from permaculture teachers. One is Bill Mollison, who said that often the solution to big complicated problems is embarrassingly simple. And the other one by Jeff Lawton, who says that all the world's problems can be solved in a garden. I think Pakistan, what we don't often value is our people. We have human resource is the most valuable resource, and we have a lot of it. And often solutions are sought where it looks good on paper, it looks good in numbers, but it's really ignoring the numbers on the ground. So I think what we need really is to enable and empower our small farmers. There's a big push towards corporate farming. That's the buzz these days in Pakistan. I don't think that's the way to go. I think what we need to do is to enable and support our small farmers to be able to live better and make the kind of changes that are required in agriculture to reverse some of the destruction that we've seen and which is accelerating the environmental and climate problems that we're seeing. And that's the way to go. And that's also what we hope, working with farming communities, is that some of what is experienced and learned in the kitchen garden can perhaps translate into agricultural practice. It's a hope, but it really needs to be done at scale. This is an experiment, but it needs to be done at scale. It needs to be at the center of all conversation.
Thank you very much, Maheen. Thank you. I'll pass to Marvi.
Yeah, so I'm just thinking, like, what would be the real mechanism here to ask a politician? And it would be to start off with unlearning and relearning in the practice of infrastructural consciousness. What does it mean to build on the basis of on indigenous mechanisms, by not, the first thing that comes to my mind is accommodate the voices into the planning processes. And if that doesn't exist, then there's no way forward. There's only emphasis on the strategy of development and who are we developing on whose basis, because clearly the development doesn't reach the rural grounds. It's extractivism. And we need to think about that extractivism comes on heavy duty performances. And my only conclusion here would be that build upon consciousness and accommodating voices.
Thank you very much. And we'll finish now with Khalid.
Okay, I think I have very, very short two messages to politicians in the world. The first one is, if you think that climate change is not something real, if you think that it's not going to lead all the humanity to the destiny of my country now, the war, just please stop using climate change and environment as a slogan in your campaigns. It's not about power at all. It's about human. So if politicians can just for a moment, or just within the COP time, forget the boundaries, their parties, and the power, and think a little bit about human, that will benefit us a lot and a lot and a lot. My second message, I'm asking them to be just a little bit humble and sit down with the local communities. To skip the idea of awareness. You are the people in need of that awareness. So you need to sit with the local communities and to learn from the indigenous knowledge, because they conserve the life for the humanity all this time. So it's not about the awareness about climate change, not the awareness about environment, but you need to learn the indigenous knowledge that keep these societies and have all this succeed in their life. And by the end of that, I need to share you something. It's a very small thing. That within our work in our project, we develop a playing card about the environmental concepts and about our work and heroes in climate change and heritage. So whoever who wish, I have some of them here, and I hope I can share you this playing card. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to everyone who shared your incredible lived experience and wisdom with us. It's been an incredible panel. Thank you very much. Please. Thank you. So now, I would like to invite Rashad Salim to the stage. Rashad is an Iraqi-German artist and researcher, and he will present his project ARC.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me. I'm Rashad Salim. I'm an artist and also an activist and cultural researcher. And we've set up Safina Projects to actually build an arc for the future. We're looking at a structure made from cultural heritage as a means of addressing the issues that we're facing. Of the things that have really affected Iraq and affected one of the big effects on climate change has been war and oil, the two together. In Iraq, that's a case in point. And what has happened has been a complete sort of rupture between people, communities, and between people and the land itself. And this is where the work that we're doing with boats comes in, because we see boats as that sort of connection or reconnecting. You have to think that Mesopotamia, Iraq, was actually brought together not just by agriculture, but trade and engagement, one with the other. So basically what we're doing is researching the boat history of Iraq and then instrumentalizing it and opening it up to address the situations. So I hope you enjoy the little film. I think it is, yes? Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Wow.
Thank you. Just to say that this was a few years ago, and we have now 7 clubs from the north of Iraq to the south, with young people meeting and engaging with this through this. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing this incredible work with us. Thank you, Rashad. And now I would like to invite filmmaker and teacher Piratá Waura to join me on stage to talk about his work preserving the cultural heritage of the Wausha community in the Xingu indigenous territory of Brazil in the south basin of the Amazon. And there are slides for that as well. Thank you. Can we have the slides? Pode começar, pode.
Meu nome é Piratá, e eu sou indígena do povo Auja.
My name is Piratá. I am an indigenous person from the Wausha people.
Eu vim do território indígena do Xingu, é território que foi demarcado pela primeira vez no Brasil.
So I'm a person from the Xingu indigenous territory, which is the first indigenous territory to be demarcated in Brazil.
Então, o território do Xingu é coração do Brasil.
And so the Xingu territory is the heart of Brazil.
Tá.
There's a photo of, I think it's the first slide. Yes.
O território fica no centro do Brasil.
It's in the middle of Brazil, as you can see there.
E vocês podem perceber que o território indígena está cercado de desmatamento do agronegócio.
And you can see that it's completely surrounded by farms, the agribusiness that cause deforestation around the Xingu.
E cada vez mais as pessoas que estão em volta do nosso redor não estão respeitando a zona de amortecimento que poderia ficar mais de 20 quilômetros do nosso território.
And the people, the farmers around, they are not respecting the area that needs to be close to the borders of the territory. They're not respecting the borders of the territory anymore.
E por isso que está ficando desse jeito que a plantação de soja avançou bastante no nosso limite.
And that's why it looks like this. This is the farm, the soy plantations that are reaching the borders of our territory.
A nossa comunidade, o nosso povo, e a gente vive dentro dos nossos territórios. A gente vive, depende dos recursos naturais dentro do nosso território.
And our community, really relies on the materials and what we source within our territory, the natural resources in our territory.
Então, tudo que estamos precisando na nossa aldeia e vem da natureza. Então, as florestas, os rios é o nosso mercado, é uma fonte de vida para nós.
Yeah, so everything that is in nature is our source of life, is our market, is where we get our food, where we get our water, where we get everything that we need is from our nature.
Uma das coisas mais importantes, mais sagradas para nós é que ficou fora dos nossos territórios e está sendo muito ameaçado pela nossa cultura.
One of the most important things for us, it's something that was left out of our territory when the territory was demarcated, and it's a very important part of our culture.
Então, essa é a nossa caverna mais sagrada.
It's our cave, the most sacred cave for our people.
É uma é uma caverna mais sagrada, um patrimônio cultural, que é o Camucuacá,
It's called the Kamukwaka. It's our sacred heritage site.
que tem uma escrita que formam a nossa cultura.
And in the Kamukwaka, there are petroglyphs. They're written on the wall that are the source of our culture.
Então, esse local, para nós, é uma fonte de conhecimento, de cultura e de a nossa sobrevivência.
So this site is our source of knowledge and it's the source of our culture.
Onde a gente aprende as nossas culturas através das oralidade
And
e da prática.
It's in this place that we learn about our culture, about our identity, about our language.
E recentemente, a nossa história, um local que foi tombado pelo patrimônio brasileiro, foi destruído.
And recently, this place has been recognized by the Institute of Cultural Heritage Site, but it was destroyed, as you can see. It was vandalized in September 2018.
Então, esse patrimônio brasileiro e que é a nossa história é uma história do povo brasileiro.
Yeah, this heritage site is not just a Wauja. It's actually Brazil. It's a whole country. It's a heritage of all of our country.
Então, esse lugar sagrado que já faz parte da nossa vivência, né? É um lugar sagrado do meu país que já foi destruído.
So this is a place that was destroyed that belongs to all of us. And as you can see on the previous photo, so someone hacked away all of the petroglyphs that were there for hundreds of years.
Então, depois disso, o povo Auja fez muito trabalho para fazer uma reconstituição para que esse conhecimento da caverna seja voltado para as comunidades.
So the Wauja led this incredible act of resistance. They got together collectively to restore and to recreate the stories of the cave that have been hacked away during this criminal act.
Então fizemos um trabalho para que a nossos conhecimentos não se apaguem.
So we did this work so that our knowledge is not lost, forever.
E que as nossas culturas, os cantos, as nossas rezas, e vêm desse lugar sagrados aí.
Yeah, because this is from this place that our songs, our stories, our patterns, our rituals come from. So we couldn't let it get lost.
Então, por isso que o povo Wauja está lutando bastante para que a nossa cultura, nossos conhecimentos sempre seja viva para os nossos futuros crianças.
So that's why we are fighting for our knowledge to be alive for the future generations. Eu só vou contar para eles pouquinho. So I'm going to just tell you a little bit more from the previous slide. So once the Kamukwaka was discovered, vandalized in September 2018, we had a team of technologists from Factum Foundation that in kind went to the place and scanned the whole vandalized cave. And then if you go to the next stage, then they analyzed the data that was there. And then with the community, because we didn't have all of the photos or images of how the petroglyphs were, so Piratá organized these groups of collective memory recalling with the elderly, with the young people in the community, and they got together and they started redrawing the petroglyphs from memories, from the stories, and it created this beautiful moment of sharing and retelling these stories where the elderly was sitting with the young children telling the stories. And Piratá, as a filmmaker, he documented all of this process, all of those stories that were there. And then together, the community and Factum Foundation, they started placing the drawings and with the original photos, matching what was missing. And then in kind, they recreated a replica of the cave, a real-size replica of the cave with the collective memory of the community with all of the petroglyphs there. And then, can we go to the next stage? And then we were planning, so this cave is in Madrid, because that's where the workshop is. And then we were planning, we were fundraising to take the cave, of course, back to the community. But then COVID happened. And we were very concerned about the impact of what is the impact of the young people from those communities not having access to the cultural knowledge of that community. What is the impact for the integrity, for the cultural integrity of the people? So Piratá had this idea of like, can we do a VR? How can we take these young kids from the villages that are, deprived for, we don't know for how long, of accessing that cultural knowledge? How can we give them the experience of visiting the cave, because they can't visit the cave anymore? So we developed this VR. We got some grants from the British Council, and we managed to install internet and solar panels in 6 villages of the Waljá community. And we started developing this framework, working together collaboratively online, because nobody could go to the territory during COVID. And Piratá, so we developed this VR for the young kids that they can go to the cave, and when they click on the petroglyphs, they access the films that Piratá made. So you would have the elderly telling the stories of each petroglyph, of each story that has been behind it. And yeah, so these are some images of it. Can we go to the next slide? Quer contar agora?
Tá. E nesse momento estamos construindo uma casa, e essa lugar sagrado, uma caverna que pode voltar no nosso território.
And now next year the cave is coming back to our territory, and we are building a center, a house, a museum to host the copy of the Kamuquaca cave.
E para que os nossos aprendizados e os nossos crianças, nossos jovens podem ter acesso mais livre nessa caverna.
So that our young kids, our future generations can have a free access to the knowledge that is written on the cave. Quer falar mais alguma coisa para terminar?
Não, antes de terminar, né, porque essa história que foi destruído é patrimônio brasileiro.
So just to say that this heritage that has been destroyed.
É que o povo Waljá, que tem muito conhecimento nessa caverna.
So, and we, the Waljá people, we are the guardians of the knowledge of this cave, of this heritage site.
Se essa caverna aí do povo Waljá é uma história do povo Waljá, então é uma história do mundo.
And if this is a cave that belongs to the Waljá, it's a story of the Waljá, it is also a story of the world.
É isso, obrigado.
And that's it. Thank you very much. Muito obrigado, Piratá. Thank you very much. Thank you. And now I would like to invite to the stage Amina Rama Audu, who is the founder of Rebuilding Hope on Wheels initiative, who will share with us a poem. Thank you, Amina.
Thank you very much. Hi, everyone. I'm honored to be here. So, the title of the poem is called Echoes, and it talks about persons with disabilities in the midst of climate change. I'm very much appreciable of people talking about communities being considered with their culture, everything that they can offer. And it's one of the things that we crave in the disability community as well. We're still struggling to have that visibility and the recognition. The poem goes like this. Verses of vulnerability traverse the interwoven thread of climate shifts. Human health resonates. Euphony of disability finds its unique harmony. Mother Earth lies quiet and in agony, suffering from extreme temperatures, global warming, starvation, excessive rainfall, increasing sea levels, and increased infectious diseases. All these variables hit hard on the vulnerable groups. The disability community is the most neglected in these groups. In the heart of the disabled community, anywhere on the face of the earth, where the sun kisses the land and rain wets the land in its distinct time, a story of climate change unfolds. A fate we must all withstand. In the vibrant embrace of the environment, a tale unfolds of climate whispers, where stories are told. In the dance of various traditions, echoes resound, health and disability, silent, profound. Yet, a spotlight beams on this woven trend in an average disabled person's heart, where gloomy stories are bred. The rhythm of nature, once harmonious and the grand, is now disrupted, echoing through every grain of sand. The sunset paints a canvas of change, yet health and disability dance in the range. We ponder on nature's delicate clues. Rhythms of change echo through the air as climate shifts, burdening lands with care. Benefit the African sky, a tale of heat unfolds as temperature rise, a relentless grip takes hold. Health, once robust, now trembles in the heat. Malaria whispers louder, malnutrition at our feet, and other infectious diseases creep in. Disability, a silent casualty in this changing song. The vulnerable bears the brunt as the climate goes wrong. Extreme weather events, a force without remorse, leaving scars on the bodies, on the earth's own course. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those extraordinary and beautiful words and powerful words. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you. I'm very conscious of time, but I did promise at the beginning a very quick update on the work of the Climate Heritage Network. So I'm going to give you that as quickly as I can. So exactly 1 month ago today, a coalition of organisations from cultural heritage, the arts and creative sectors, under the umbrella of the Climate Heritage Network, launched the global call to put culture at the heart of climate action, which has been now signed by 1,500 organisations, individuals and networks, together representing many thousands more individuals and other organisations, some of whom I'm sure are in the room today or are joining us online. I'm pleased to share that yesterday, the first ministerial meeting on this topic was convened and co-chaired by the Ministers of Culture of UAE and Brazil. More than 30 governments were represented, as well as key intergovernmental organisations and cultural organisations. This was, we hope, a historic meeting. It launched a group of friends of culture-based climate action, and it resulted in the unanimous adoption of the Emiratis Declaration on Culture-Based Climate Action. We very much hope that this declaration paves the way for the adoption of a joint work decision on culture-based climate action at COP29 and subsequently to a related action plan ahead of COP30 in Brazil. If you've not already signed up to the Global Call to Action, please do. You can sign up still on the Climate Heritage Network on their website. And through that, we can keep everybody updated. So it only goes for me to say thank you to everybody who's participated and shared their work with us today. And thank you to Tiago also. We've heard today about the critical importance of centering the knowledge of people and of having a deep understanding of culture and heritage of communities as we respond to the climate crisis. It's been a privilege to hear about this work and to host you here today. Thank you very much.